Welcome, everyone, to the Heart of Innovation. This is the behind the scenes of a live broadcast on KDOW in the San Francisco Bay Area, the #1 healthcare innovation podcast or radio broadcast in the San Francisco Bay Area, but the #1 women in innovation podcast in the nation, thanks to FeedSpot. Today, we have a really special story about a case that is now peer-reviewed in Vascular Disease Management magazine. You don't want to miss this story and what you will learn about saving life and limb and the possibilities that could help you, a family member, or even a friend. Stay with us.
Business leader at KDOW.biz, on our mobile app, tune in, iHeart, and the Odyssey app. We go where you go. AM 1220 KDOW.
Sponsored by The Way to My Heart Incorporated.
Welcome to the Heart of Innovation, 60 minutes that could save life and limb, with new breakthrough ideas and innovation changing the healthcare landscape. Brought to you by Patient Advocacy Group, the Global PAD Association at padhelp.org, in partnership with Reflow Medical, the pulse of medical ingenuity. Here are your hosts for the Heart of Innovation, Emmy Award-winning journalist and founder of the Global PAD Association, Kim McNicholas, and interventional cardiologist and founder of Save My Piggies Health and Wellness, Dr. John Phillips.
Are you on deck for amputation? Is someone you know on deck for amputation? And the doctor says, well, your life isn't on the line, but why delay the inevitable? Let's just take your leg because of poor circulation in the, below your hip, arteries for the most part. Well, we have a case that we want to share with you today with Dr. John. He's been digging into the details of it. It is a case study that was published in Vascular Disease Management magazine. It was peer-reviewed by world-renowned Dr. Craig Walker and his team, and it was written by Dr. David Allie, Dr. Amit Amin, and a podiatrist out of Louisiana. So I'm excited to get into that and share an update on Mama Joyce, who 1 year ago, Dr. John, we were talking to her. She had just avoided amputation. She was still immersed in wound care to heal the wounds that she was dealing with at the time. And I got to meet her in person recently, and I'm going to share with you what I discovered a little bit later in the show. So I'm excited. This is going to be a good learning process for so many people.
Indeed. Happy Saturday. It's raining here in Columbus. And, I think when you look at this case, so congratulations. Name and print there, Ms. Kimberly, July 2026 issue. The case itself highlights a lot of, issues and factors that, lead to folks having wounds that don't heal well, and the amount of time it takes, not only after revascularization, but I think what it also, highlights is the patient advocacy portion of it, which I presume it was your role, because again, a lot of folks don't know their options, and sometimes we maybe rely a little too heavily on one opinion, and that opinion, everybody has an opinion, as they say, just like something else. So, it's important to get multiple opinions. I think that's kind of one of the cautionary tales here as well.
And I'm showing, for those that are joining on YouTube, can actually see the article that was, it's our first peer-reviewed article, which I'm really excited about. And it's an extreme limb salvage case. You're going to get into the details in just a moment. I just heard, and I'm excited, that Mama Joyce and her daughter Jay are going to be joining us in just a little bit. But Dr. John, this is going to be a pretty rough show. We're going to get into the weeds, and we're going to hear a lot of drama of what this family's been through. So why don't we start with a moment of inspiration?
Dr. John Phillips, spectacular vascular moment of inspiration.
Well, this is a real quick one, and I picked this one, Kim, because before we went live, you were sharing some of the things you're working on with registries and raising awareness for some of the trials out there, and then obviously really just focusing on the patients and trying to do what's right for them. And a lot of times I imagine you feel like you got a lot of plates spinning and you don't know where to start. But as Mark Twain says, the secret of getting ahead is just getting started. So there you go. Keep getting started.
It is. And, it reminds me of what a member of a board of directors, Dean, always says is perfection is the enemy of production. So you just have to get started. And we have our new intern, Hybach, who's here. I'm really excited to have her join as well. And I just got her into the weeds this morning. And I was telling her she's a business management for healthcare type of intern and getting these organizations in order. And we've really not had a full method to our madness, prior to this. And so we didn't want to let all of the red tape and all the business processes get in the way of just getting things done. For example, this morning, we have a patient, we're by the seat of our pants. We're driven by our patients, right? You just got to get started. You just got to jump into social media, find the people that need help, offer the help, answer the phone. And that's the key. We're answering the phone, Douglas and I, and we have several others that just started answering our phone lines as well across the US, including a brand new medical student who has aspirations of being a vascular surgeon. But you just got to answer the phone and help people who need it and help them navigate care, and then worry about the rest later. So I love that quote.
I mean, it's just it's sad, I think, in an interesting commentary on this disease process that, you guys, you have to exist. Like I don't, I'm trying to think if, at least in this pace, the sandbox that I play in, from coronary artery disease and other things, I mean, people, yes, need help, but they typically do it within the confines of their health system or where they, seek medical care. The abyss that is PAD and CLTI is deep, but it's dark, and you guys are shining a light. So again, keep up the good work. I mean, you probably don't hear it enough, but we those of us that do the procedures, it's one thing, but actually, again, I keep thinking. I told somebody the other day, I was doing a teaching thing for Penumbra, and I was telling somebody about what you do and the $400 that was spent on the Uber. I mean, like, that's just above and beyond the call, Kimberly, above and beyond the call.
But, we're still learning as we go. We're still
Right.
evolving. And that's why we didn't have the exact business processes before, because you need to be driven by the patients. We're developing something that hasn't been done before, and we want it to evolve with the patients. And we see what's happening in the universe. We see, like, for example, there's an organization called ALPS, and they just created their doctor finder, and Society for Vascular Surgery has their doctor finder. But there's still a need for people to be on the front lines. Great, you find a doctor. What are the questions you need to ask? It's one thing to have a list of questions to ask and a suggested listed set of questions to ask. But
Yeah.
as you know, Dr. Phillips, and maybe you can talk about this for a moment, the issue with PAD is that different patients have different presentations of disease, and that dictates what questions they should ask and the treatment options that might be available to them.
Right, and we've got a minute left before we go to break, but again, the symptoms sometimes mirror other medical problems, so people don't necessarily think what the symptoms they're having are related to a blocked artery in the leg, whereas people that get chest pain and heaviness and shortness of breath, I mean, that pretty much triggers something maybe with my heart. Again, a lot of folks, just the older population, say, "Oh, I'm just getting older, and so I can't walk as well." And so just you have to honestly ask a handful of questions, and that's all it takes. Like you said, answering the phone, but for me, it's asking the right questions for the patient who has risk factors, which we can talk to on the other end.
And coming up next, right here on the Heart of Innovation, Jay and Mama Joyce are going to be joining us in just a few minutes, and we're going to find out the questions they wish they asked earlier and what they're asking now. That's next, right here on the Heart of Innovation. Stay with us.
Leg health can indicate.
Joyce.
Hello, my darling. How are you?
Happy birthday to you.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mama Joyce. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much, my dear.
Thank you. And happy birthday to Jay. What, last 2
Thank
weeks
you.
ago?
Yes,
Right?
last Thursday, last
Oh,
Friday,
last
actually.
Thursday. Last Friday.
Yes.
Oh my
Good
gosh.
to see you,
It's
ladies. Good to see
good.
you.
Thank you,
Good to
Dr.
see you,
Phillips.
doctor.
So when was your birthday, Mama Joyce?
Mine was yesterday.
Oh, fantastic. Happy birthday.
Yes.
What, 52?
Add 20 more to that.
Oh, come on now.
No way.
What did
Seriously?
Vern's, was it your sportscaster buddy, Kim?
Yeah, Vern Glenn.
Vern, he's like, what did he say? Black don't crack?
That's
Yes, right.
Because
Yeah,
I thought, I had no idea he was his age either. So kudos.
no, he looks like he's about 40 and
Mhm.
he's 60.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
was like, holy crap.
That is
So
awesome.
the thing that people need to know is, and I think this is important. They're now my family. I got the
Yes,
best
you
mama
are,
hug
of
I have not
course.
had in 4 years.
That's right.
But that's how deep, we ended up going in the weeds,
Mhm.
right together through this
Yeah.
whole process.
30 seconds.
That we just become family. We are family,
We
and
That's
are
right.
family.
Mama Joyce and I got to meet in person. Hopefully, I'll get to meet Jay very soon.
Yes.
But it was that moment was just amazing
Yes, it
to
was.
be able to meet you in
Right.
person. And then we got was it your nephew that he ran into
My
a bush for
brother.
us?
It was her brother.
Brother,
Mhm.
your brother ran into a
Yes.
bush for us.
Ran
That
into
was
a
awesome.
bush.
AM 1220
Yeah, it was great. I
KDOW.
might be able to show the video. It's really funny. I laugh every single time.
Welcome back
'cause-
to the Heart of Innovation.
Yeah.
For more on today's topic, go to theheartofinnovation.org. That's theheartofinnovation.org. Once again, here's Emmy Award-winning journalist Kim McNicholas and interventional cardiologist Dr. John Phillips.
Welcome back to the show.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, go,
I
Kim,
wasn't
go.
sure who was going to take it.
I wasn't sure either. Go. But you got to introduce Mama Joyce and Miss J to the team.
I was gonna let you do it, but I was like, I'm not sure if he wants to do it. I was waiting for you to go like this, and we had a great conversation during the break with Mama Joyce and Jay, and was giving some folks on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/the way to my heart, for those that want to see all of us in person and in the real. And gosh, I don't even know where to start except to say happy birthday, Mama Joyce. A year ago, did you ever think that you would have another birthday? And I mean, it is a fair question.
Yeah, I kept the faith. I thought surely I would have another because I'm a faith believer and the Lord told me I was going to be healed and I just stood on the word that I was going to be healed. But a lot of people came in, a lot of people had doubt. They thought I was crazy for keeping the faith. But I'm here and I'm thankful to the good Lord that I'm still here.
And I mean, Jay, that was not an easy path.
Oh, it was
we were on
not.
this journey together every step
Yes.
of the way.
Yes, it was very difficult. I gave her a birthday, like a speech during her birthday dinner the other day. And to me, just looking to her to see how resilient she was and how hard she fought. Some days she just couldn't even say a word, but she just kept focused and kept her eyes focused on God and stayed prayed up. It was just nothing short of a miracle would happen. So we're just thankful. Truly
And
blessed.
where should we just run people through the Cliff Notes version of what happened so we don't have to? I don't want you to have to relive it because I want to keep that energy going forward. But I think people are going, whoa, what happened? What did you go through? And we have to give my favorite kicker line that was the catalyst for creating the change we all wanted to see in the parking lot with you. And what you did that was just unheard of. But bring us back, walk us through your diagnosis with poor circulation in the legs, the PAD, and how we ultimately ended up meeting.
Okay, well, Jay's going to tell you all about that.
Okay, so probably.
This is what happened last time. Jay
Yeah,
did all the
Jay
talking.
talk.
It's
Jay did
fine.
all the talking.
But I would tell you what, a lot of the days I was just not in it. I was out, but she was there to witness everything. She was right there taking notes and making sure I was okay. Because sometimes, like I said, I could even raise my head about the pillow, but she was right there to keep it going. So it's good to have an advocate.
Real quick, that's an interesting point, right? Because it's so important to have a family member or a crutch kind of to kind of help support you when you can't support yourself. And a lot
That's
of people
correct.
don't have that. I mean, I can tell you, I would say probably 6 out of 10 times I go into a room and there's no family member there, and it's really tough to kind of help that. I mean, that patient is vulnerable as it is, and so kudos to you, Jay, because you have to work, right? I mean, like you have responsibilities, and it's tough. It really is.
And I have to say, there was a study that went out that was just published somewhere. I read it on LinkedIn, saying that people end up doing better if they have an advocate in the hospital. And it's not that doctors and nurses are favoring those people. It's just that you're in their face, and they tend to prioritize those that are in their face. They have to. There's so much going on, and what is right in front of them is going to be you. But I do have to say that you have to make sure that whomever is your advocate is someone like Jay, because we just had someone last week, and I felt terrible that the family member didn't know what to advocate for, didn't know how to advocate, was just the communication, the liaison between the patient and the doctors, but believed everything the doctors said, didn't know how to ask questions, wasn't comfortable doing that, wanted to believe because they were wearing the white coat that they had the best interest in mind. And another family member had called us and said, Kim, how do we get this happening? And too bad the patient died. It was a little too late, but they still contend that if the son would have listened and to us and got the transfer, that she might be alive today with a different option. Her renal arteries were blocked, and those doctors didn't know what to do or how to do it. So it's the type of advocate. And Jay, walk us through that process of what made you that ultimate advocate.
Well, so my mom started off with, peripheral artery disease, and I'm going to do the fast version of it. But she started 2009. We didn't know what it was. We were walking on the track. Her legs started cramping really badly. She could not make it forward, make it to the car. We had to take several stops. I had no idea. She just thought we were out of shape and we needed to walk more, needed to exercise more. Long story short, we found out that it was peripheral artery disease by listening to something on the radio. Some advertisement came on the radio about getting screening. She got screened and found out she had peripheral artery disease then. So through the years, she's had a series of angiograms like every 2 years, from there. And then it just continuously got worse. Got to the point where, fast forwarding all the way to 2024, it got serious enough to in her left leg. Is it your left leg? In her left leg, she needed to have a bypass. So she ended up having a bypass done on her left leg. Then a couple months after that bypass on her left leg, her right leg started bothering her as well. So she ended up getting to the need of having a bypass on her left leg as well. And that bypass, I don't even know if we even talked about this as much, Kim, but that bypass in her left leg, it ruptured 9 times, like literally ruptured to the point of rupturing at the first rupture was in the waiting room, the emergency room of the hospital, where blood just started profusely pouring out of her leg like a faucet. The second rupture was at the house, where she was at home by herself. It looked like a murder scene, for lack of a better words. Blood was literally all over the floor. And then she had 8 more ruptures in the hospital. So it was getting to the point of, it would rupture, they would repair the rupture, it would rupture again. One time she was coming out of ICU and she had just gotten to the floor, and by the time she made it to the regular floor, it ruptured again. I mean, with a nurse that we consider her to be family as well. She literally jumped in motion and literally had to have her hands on my mom's leg for hours until a surgical team can come in and repair it. So she went through all of that first. And then it got to the point of them saying that there was nothing more they can do. So that happened probably about May of last year. No other alternatives. She needed an amputation. So my mom asked me, she says that we had come to the realization if she needed an amputation, if that's where she needed to go, we were going to figure out the best life she can live with an amputation. But she asked me, she said, I just want a second opinion. You know, amputations are final. You know, once you cut off the leg, you can't put it back on. So can you get me a second opinion? So that's where it went to, my mom wants a second opinion, and I'm going to find my mom a second opinion. So after the doctor, her last doctor told me that it was nothing more he can do. I was literally in her hospital room waiting for her to come out of surgery. I Googled, my husband and I both, he Googled separately and I Googled the best peripheral artery disease doctor in the States. You know, we were willing to take her to wherever we need to go. And Dr. John Phillips' name came up. His name came up.
Do you know how much it costs to pay for that? Do you know?
Yes.
The best.
Yes.
Cost every single Saturday.
Didn't I know you guys?
You got me, Kim. You got me.
I started like
planted that
internet
one.
stalking him. I started reading the stuff that he does, where he was, and I was prepared to take my mom to his office.
Ohio.
In Ohio. So I was like I was gonna figure out how I was gonna get to this man. That was my goal. I was like gonna stalk him, and I was gonna say, Dr. Junkos, give my mom a second opinion. That was my plan, you know, initially. And then when I started Googling him, I came across you guys' podcast.
And then we're going to tell everyone what happened next. The rest is history. No more, no story. Point taken. No, I'm just kidding. More to come right here on the Heart of Innovation on KDOW. So stay with us. I actually forgot about that part of the story.
I did too, honestly. I didn't know we were going back to that. We have to. We've got to get to this article.
I was going to hunt you down, Dr. Phillips. I was going to knock on your door.
Again, it speaks to a level of commitment to a family member, loved one that sometimes we just don't see, or people don't, I guess, maybe understand. I'm a broken record here, but when someone has cancer, you know, like people know, I mean, like most people will try any treatment, go to a place where they can get, maybe be involved in a research trial or something along those lines. And so I still just don't understand where we're falling short in this disease process, that people have to Google folks to try to find a doctor. You know, I mean, I'm apoplectic. So.
Hey, Mama Joyce.
Yes.
Yes.
That's my
Send my love. I'm glad.
Hi, you Dad?
We're successful. Yes.
Nice
He went
to
through
see
the
you.
process, all the phone calls and stuff. My dad was in the background. So he just whispers like, I want to tell Mama Joyce that I say hello.
Hi.
We love your daughter. We're so thankful for her. So your family now too.
Yes, you are.
All right. Well,
My
if you come
daughter.
to San Francisco, we'll show you around.
Yeah, we have
Next time we'll do that.
behind this green screen is there's a bed, so it's all yours.
Nice.
All right.
All right.
We're gonna take you up on that offer.
So which leg? So we the next segment's only like 6 minutes, but I'm curious, and I probably asked this last time, but when you say rupture, like what is going on there? Is the bypass?
Yeah, it was the bypass. So what he did is
dehiscing or coming
did an
off
incision, like the incision where she had staples in her leg, right around her thigh, and below that, I had a video where he actually put the bypass in. So the actual site under her leg is what ruptured, and it just kept.
So we call that there's the anastomosis, it's called. Okay, so like if this is, I don't know if you can see this or not, but like this is the glue stick, and so if this artery is blocked. Well, actually, let me find a cord, which is better. So if this section here is blocked, basically they open up you here, okay, and then they bypass to here. All right. So like they tie it in here and they tie it in here. This is the anastomosis and this is the anastomosis.
Yeah.
But was it the anastomosis was not holding up? Because I mean, there's no other way for you to be bleeding
30
from
seconds.
that site. I guess we don't have to. I'm just curious. We can talk about other things, but
And then when it started bleeding, it just like you turn the water faucet on, and it just goes really, really fast. Or like the fire hydrant. If you look at the fire hydrant, it's like that, and it was just really coming out.
It was like the first time I was covered in blood. The second time my brother was, I mean, like my mom was here by herself the second time, and it was just everywhere. Like, you know, the paramedics came in, and it was a lot.
KDOW.
All over the place, on the walls, on the floor, just like
Welcome back to the Heart of Innovation. For more on today's topic, go to theheartofinnovation.org. That's theheartofinnovation.org. Once again, here's Emmy Award-winning journalist Kim McNicholas and interventional cardiologist Dr. John Phillips.
welcome back, everybody. We're joined today with Mama Joyce and Jay, and this is why you have to hang out on the YouTube and listen between the commercial breaks, because what they were describing was like a scene from The Shining with the blood coming. I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Shining, where the blood is like in the hotel, but I mean, we were just kind of going over the anatomy of a bypass and where things were leaking. But I mean, ultimately, so it's May of 2025-ish, and now you're staring down an amputation. You somehow Googled a goofy doctor in Ohio, but realized that's probably not going to work. You got in touch with Kim, and so you guys live in where, Louisiana or thereabouts?
Yes, we live in Alexandria, Louisiana.
Good. So you found our friends down in Louisiana, and they helped you out, huh?
Yes, very well. So found Kim, connected with an awesome doctor in Lafayette, Dr. Amit Amin. He was able to do his thing, open up mom's blood flow, and got with some amazing wound care team in Opelousas, Dr. Thibodeaux. And now she is, walking. She's, vibrant. She's getting her life back. She's moving. She went from being bedridden, not being able to walk. This time last year, we were literally in the heat of the fight. She was not able to walk. And a year later, she has one wound left, and it's really small. And so we're hoping that last wound, which is around her ankle, she ended up with a wound in her thigh, a wound around her calf, and then a wound around her ankle. And these are massive, huge.
Yeah. So, I mean, real quick, like for folks that are able to, and we could probably put up a link to the article that was published in Vascular Disease Management, July of 2026. There are, I don't know, 10 pictures of your wounds, and they are massive, massive wounds. And because part of the problem too is if you're having bleeding issues from that, we call it the anastomosis, where the bypass plugs into a healthy portion. I'm assuming so when you get an incision, you heal. So obviously it has to heal. Okay. Sometimes African Americans have more scar tissue than non-African Americans, which makes it even more difficult to kind of go back in. So, I mean, I'm looking at some of these pictures, and this is a pride swallowing siege, up at dawn kind of battle to get these wounds to heal. And whatever they did was amazing, because this is a lot. This is a lot.
Yeah, I'm bringing up the, can you see this, or do you see a blank screen?
We see it. Yep.
And for those that are on KDOW, I'm pulling up we talked in the beginning about a peer-reviewed article. It's a case study. They consider it an extreme limb salvage study. And for those of you who might be a little squeamish, be prepared. Close your eyes if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching this later, because as Dr. John was mentioning, there are some graphic pictures that will be coming up in a moment. And then we could go back to kind of what there they are. And they were pretty bad. And, it was really hard, because so many people, even after you did have your blood flow restored, the doctors still wanted to amputate, because there is a low percentage, once you get wounds of a certain size, even when you restore blood flow, they just, they still can't heal in a timely fashion. There's still the threat of infection. And I think that's what makes this article, Dr. John, even more interesting, is simply the fact that they talk about this hydrochloric acid. Became a part of this study with this brand new. They were very lucky. They had the lead PI of a study for this new hydrochloric acid from Spectrum Antimicrobials. They got our breakthrough, if you call it, breakthrough award for wound care last year for 2025. But it just so happens that in Lafayette, Louisiana, which is where she was being treated, that Dr. David Allie was there, and he was a cardiothoracic surgeon, but very focused on wound care, and was the lead PI on this study for this particular wound care product. He got in his car, right, Jay?
Yes.
He got in his car and drove 2.5 hours to hand deliver this product to Opelousas to the vascular surgeon who is a wound care specialist, Dr. Thibodeaux.
Yes.
It was nothing short of amazing. It's just the team just lined up perfectly, once we got connected to the right people, and we it was just nothing but God for how it lined up so perfectly for her. But this spray was night and day, because
Yes,
we had wounds on the other leg that we had to battle previously, and having the spray at our fingertips, we saw the difference. So the other leg took a very long time for the wounds to heal. She had repeated hospital stays on antibiotics long term, and it was difficult. But utilizing and having access to this spray, they would literally, you would see the biofilm just wipe out in front of your face.
Coming up next, right here on The Heart of Innovation, we'll have more with Mama Joyce and Jay and this incredible limb-saving story. That's next, right here on KDOW and The Heart of Innovation. Don't go away. Yeah, and that's what Douglas is asking, and this is a really important question, because you did have your faith, but it's hard for people to understand, like, what does that mean, especially when you have so many doctors and you have your good days and bad days. How tough is it to stay positive throughout? And I think that was also in this article, the role of advocacy in it as well, and to have someone, we were connected anytime you had an issue. It was like I was on the phone with David Allie, and I was on the phone with Dr. Amin, and I remember when you were in the hospital, and Dr. Amin and Dr. John, this is where it's so frustrating for what we call the plumbers, right? You go in, you restore blood flow, you're positive that this is really going to do something for the patient. And then a general surgeon comes in who's a wound care specialist who says, no, yeah, you might have blood flow, but here's my favorite line: you have too much blood flow now. It's not going to heal. But Dr. Amin had no idea. He left the hospital and didn't know the surgeon was going to cut off her leg.
Yes.
And if she didn't have us that was connected to Dr. Amin, they were literally, because how it works inside the hospital, you kind of pass things along and everyone has their role. And the general surgeon was not going to check, and didn't have to check with Dr. Amin to see if that was possible. Dr. Amin opened up the iliac arteries, got the inflow, and then the general surgeon came in to assess the wound. And if I didn't get on the phone with Dr. Amin to say, Dr. Amin, well, now they're going to cut off her leg, he turned around, right, in his car. He went back to the hospital and was like, whoa, it's my patient. Hold on.
Wow.
And I was able to get Dr. Amin to talk to Dr. David Allie that had this product. And the two of them worked together with the hospital to then get her outpatient and back to Opelousas, where they took care of the wounds. But
Yes.
we can't do that everywhere.
No.
But it was so nice that it was there, and we had that ability.
So actually, the first time we actually did the show, 2 minutes before I got on the show, a doctor stopped me in the hallway, because I did the actual show in my car, and told me that my mom still needed an amputation. So when I came on the show, I just heard the news that she still needed an amputation from that. So I'm just, like I said, I'm thankful that everybody lined up, and it lined up perfectly. And to answer the question to Douglas, before like I had my faith and I trusted God, but before I found this organization, that's why advocacy programs like this are important for caregivers, because I felt hopeless every day. I felt like I was being defeated because I had questions and I had hope that we can find other resources, but without having the right education or having the right support group behind me, it felt hopeless. So until I found Kim, I felt hopeless. So that's why I thank God for you. I thank God for putting you in my life. And I thank God for organizations like this, because you guys help educate me. You guys help encourage me when I needed encouragement. And it just kept me, gave me the strength to keep pushing forward.
And I love the moment that I think that we didn't get to the turning point. We probably should, maybe in the beginning, kind of the turning point for you initially. And it would be interesting, Dr. John, as well, to hit on, a year ago when she came on and she told her story, she was still on deck, like 2 minutes before the show.
Right.
She was still, and look at where we're at today. And she's walking. Like, this is really a miracle. But the interesting thing was, before we got her to Dr. Amin, the situation that people need to be aware of is the conversations that happen between you, the care team, and even the financial folks in the hospital, and what she was dealing with there, and how they were pressuring her to still do the amputation. And it would just took the right question to ask, which I always say, is my life on the line? If I leave the hospital today to think about it and get my affairs in order, get our heads wrapped around it, will I survive? And I think that that's always the most important question, number one. Number two is, if my life is not on the line, but you still don't think I should go home, let's talk about a transfer.
30 seconds.
And that's kind of where we were at the time.
Yeah.
So this is our last full save.
And it's short too.
That was my fault because I let it run. So
5.5. You want to take us back, or how do you guys want to?
No, you can go ahead. You
Okay.
come in.
I'm gonna just share a little information here.
Across Oregon and Washington.
AM 1220 KDOW.
Welcome back to the Heart of Innovation. For more on today's topic, go to theheartofinnovation.org. That's theheartofinnovation.org. Once again, here's Emmy Award-winning journalist Kim McNicholas and interventional cardiologist Dr. John Phillips.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us today. Again, I think it's important, since we're highlighting this case of Mama Joyce and the advocacy for daughter and family and the support structure, and I think just kind of continuing to claw at the notion of, or I guess push back against the notion of amputation. But so we've talked about this before, and we talk about the mortality rate with people that have chronic limb-threatening ischemia, which is about anywhere from 11 to maybe 15% of the 220 plus million people worldwide that have peripheral arterial disease. So let's say 10%. So let's say 20 million people or so. The mortality rate's upwards at 5 years of 60%. And one of the things that we've made progress in is, I think, having these multidisciplinary care teams. Obviously, Kim and your team are helping for advocacy, but it still goes with one of the things that always kind of still gets me is, I think it's around 20% of patients have their kind of first vascular procedure is an amputation. And we're still, we're doing better, but we're not doing good enough. And I think, Jay, you were saying this during the break, if it hadn't been for Kim and her team, Mama Joyce, you'd probably be in a different situation right now. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say, yes.
Yeah. And so, you guys you guys are thankful, but there's probably thousands of people out there, and hopefully they're listening. And so what would you tell like somebody listening that where, maybe they are in that abyss and it's dark and there's no light around? Like what would you tell them to do? How would you motivate them to try to get them thinking that there are options out there for me? or my loved one.
Well, actually, I what I wish we would have done sooner was found you guys, so if you can't advocate for yourself, maybe look for advocating a group that can advocate for you, because that's what changed things for us. The advocacy, being able to educate yourself on that. I know that not everybody's going to be able to do what we did. I stopped everything. My husband and I stopped everything. Like I gave up my job. My husband's retired, but we stopped everything. We put all hands on deck and committed to my mom healing. I know not everybody's going to be able to do that, but I think that helped my mom's situation as well. And being able to educate myself. I learned how to read blood work. I studied on doing that. At the point I joke about it. If I could just go and take the test to become a doctor, maybe I can just pass it now, because I've done so much research on trying to do it. It got to the point where doctors were asking me because I was starting to ask the questions, was I a doctor? But I focused all of my energy and efforts to learning my mom's medical situation, learning how she reacted on certain things, and then with Kim educating me on the background, it became full circle. So
Can I ask, sorry to interrupt, but did you use Claude or ChatGPT or any AI tools to kind of help guide you?
I didn't at the time. Now, if she was doing it, I probably would have used ChatGPT. But yeah, I did not. I just, my background. I'm a researcher for my background. I'm the chief transportation officer for the region. I write a lot of policy. I write ordinances. I've written patents before. So I just use my background to do research. I read books. I just put the effort and time in to focus solely on my mom's health and healing, and anything that could help in her situation, I was able to do it. Even to the point as I saw that red light therapy had some promising on doing blood flow. So I asked the doctors. I have a medical grade red light therapy instrument. I asked them, can I bring it in the hospital? And they let me put it in the hospital. Topical oxygen. I found out that helps. So I had anything that whether
you drive the doctors crazy.
Yeah, I probably did, but I was nice. They allowed me, to do it. They say yes.
There's always a right way to do it, right? I always say if you ask the right question in the right way, you get the right answer. But she breezed over just something I think is very important, because I'm proud of my sister, that she has applied for a patent for this topical oxygen therapy that she created for her mom because she found a gap. And so, and actually, we just had confirmation and affirmation for what you were doing from Dr. David Dexter from Centara Health, who was like, wait a minute, what are you doing? This is amazing. And coming up next, right here on The Heart of Innovation, we'll have final thoughts on the story, the moral of the story, with Mama Joyce and Jay. So stay with us right here on The Heart of Innovation on KDOW. Don't go away. I had to get in the plug because it was amazing.
Thank you.
But it was cool when we had our business management meeting and Dr. Dexter went off on a full tangent about how great it was what you were doing. So, which I think is great. We only have 4 minutes, but if you have a few minutes afterwards that we can address, I can put it together. Just maybe taking a few extra minutes at the end.
Okay.
After the show is done,
10 minutes
because I think there is, still so much that we only have literally 4 minutes, and it's a hard stop. So if you can, I don't know if you can see, I can put my finger up when it's literally like we have to wrap. Okay. And so it's like a quick final thought there, because we have 30 seconds of music. And so when I go like this, it's like,
it's done.
We gotta say goodbye. But it means just quickly, finish the thought. And then I can actually, that's for the radio show, I can creatively edit in and have you pick up where you left off if there was more you could say, and then we can spend a few minutes. Because Douglas has, so until you found us. So, I mean, a lot of doctors, if the doctors are not doing the right thing, what we find is they don't want you to ask the questions. But we have found, with the greater education, like this patient that we had this morning, to ask a question where they said that they failed coming down from the top and now you need a bypass. Well, I think it's important for a patient to know and understand, well, maybe there's an option where they can come up from below. So educating the patients on the options, it doesn't mean a bypass is not the right next step. It doesn't mean that you can come up from the bottom, but it's worth asking the question whether or not you do something about it. And I've had a doctor call me afterwards and go, wow, do you know someone that can actually teach me this or that or the other thing? And so I think that that's important. But where I draw the line, and Dr. John knows this, is we had a patient that came to us today and was like, I need a doctor who uses atherectomy. I need an atherectomy surgeon. And I said, well, there are doctors that can do amazing things with wires and balloons and even lithotripsy devices and, burrowing devices. You don't necessarily need a doctor that does atherectomy. That's not the way you look at things. You can ask them what devices they use if it gets to that point. But, and it's fine if you want to ask them if they use it and understand the concept of vessel preparation. And you want to find a doctor that aligns with your philosophy on it, what you like based on what you've read. But
I think most patients would just be happy if you said, I can help you. And if I can't help you, I'll get you to someone who can help you.
There's the point.
Exactly.
If I can't help you, let me find someone who can.
Right.
And that's what a good doctor will do. And it's great because your original doctor now, I don't know where you left it with that. You don't have to say on air here, but I know that he had reached out saying he wanted to connect with us.
Yes.
And so not sure. I mean, hopefully, I don't know where it stands now or what they responded back to you, but if that was really a good intention that they want to learn, they want to grow, they want to find options for patients, I think that would be amazing.
Yes.
And
I think that shows a lot of character for anyone. If they acknowledge, hey, things happen, there's technical problems, whatever, and you admit what happened. And I think you have to be honest with the patients. I mean, there are studies out there that look at, okay, who's more likely to get
30
sued?
seconds.
And it's not the physician who spends time with patients. It's not the physician who asks questions with their patients. It's the physician who's just a little bit too much hubris, doesn't take time, and there's a lot that goes into the conversation that you have with the patient and how the patient perceives it, and ultimately how they feel about their care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we got
where do we want to go in the next
minutes?
for 4 minutes?
1220
I
KDOW.
think we go into kind of where we met.
Welcome back to the Heart of Innovation. For more on today's topic, go to theheartofinnovation.org. That's theheartofinnovation.org. Once again, here's Emmy Award-winning journalist Kim McNicholas and interventional cardiologist Dr. John Phillips.
Welcome back, everybody. And again, I always say it, we're rounding third base here, 4 minutes left on the show. Mama Joyce.
Yes.
Some final thoughts on this whole journey, and really maybe two things that you'd like to share with our audience about, how about this? One of the darkest moments and then one of the brightest moments.
Okay, one of the darkest moments was when I was getting ready to go to Lafayette. It was like about 11:30, and that particular day, the other doctors were saying, the doctors at the hospital were saying my daughter was delusional. She couldn't take me out of the hospital. They would not release me from the hospital. But between she and Kim and my other play daughter, they were persistent and consistent, and they said that they were going to get me out of the hospital. So it happened like about 11:39, 11:40 or so on that particular night, right before 12 o'clock, that they got me out and they got me to Lafayette. And one of the brightest moments was when I talked to Dr. Amit Amin. he was able to open up my arteries. There were three. One was closed 100% and two were closed 90%. And he was able to give me blood flow in all those three arteries that was blocked, and where the other doctor said from that it had to be amputated. But he was the only doctor at that time saying, all the other doctors who said it had to be amputated, he says, no, I have blood flow, everything's going good, and I don't need an amputation. So he was the only one person, one doctor out of all the other doctors. He was on that one doctor said that no, that she's not going to need amputation, and she's going to be able. And you know, the healing process was a hard, rough process, but Dr. Mann and then Dr. Thibodeaux, they worked very hard with me, and they were consistent. Anything new came up or anything they knew that I need to try, they were doing it. And I tell you, those wounds just start healing quicker and quicker. So I was just thankful to meet Kim and you, Dr. Phillips, because between the two of y'all were able to help us out and put us in the right place where we needed to be at that particular time. So thank y'all so much. I appreciate you. And my daughter, Kim, I love you and I appreciate you.
I love you so much. And when you told me you were coming out to Napa Valley and we met in person,
Yes.
I mean, the anticipation, I had nerves. It was like this buildup and when I saw you and we brought Jay on, I wish we recorded it because we didn't. And I was, we didn't. But I mean, what was that like for you? Because for me, there was nothing like a Mama Joyce hug. And that was like, it was such like, everything just came together for me in that moment.
It was for real. It was a for real hug. And you know, I didn't know who I was looking for. So you were the only one sitting down at the time. I just said, Kim. and what I said,
what did you guys do there? What were you doing in Napa?
Excuse me?
What were you doing?
What were you guys doing in Napa?
My goddaughter, who was my great niece, graduated from law school at the University of San Francisco. So I went out to support her. And as a matter of fact, she just finished taking the exam to be the bar Wednesday night. So now she said it went okay. So now we're waiting to November to hear the results. But she's a smart one. And she was just, the whole family came just about, at least 20, 30 people from all over the United States came to be with her. So we all went out there to support her.
That's amazing.
That's why I was there.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Thank you so much, Kim. Yes, it was a blessing. And I thank God that I got the opportunity to meet.
And me too. And, you know, you come into our network at the Global PAD Association. It's not just family, we're family.
That's
and
right.
I just love you both and so thankful for this journey alongside you. If you have questions about PAD, on deck for amputation, you want to prevent it, poor circulation in your legs, call the Leg Saver Hotline.
With Emmy Award-winning journalist Kim McNichol.
And for those of you who are on here, I wanted to share something which I think was the moment, since you're watching on YouTube, I thought it'd be really fun to share in case you didn't see it, which I'm going to actually do a reshare because you have to actually see, you have to hear what's being said because you were there with your brother.
Yes.
And it was so great to meet your brother too. And we wanted to go for a walk together. And just because it was just amazing because as you were saying, you were bedridden a year ago.
Yes.
And with wounds, your leg was filleted. And to see how far you came in a matter of months. And I have video of you walking with a walker that Jay had sent to me, but then to see you in person and to walk with you without the walker, and we were walking my dog Bailey B. I just thought this was really fun. But the most fun part of it is in the end where we knew your brother said, make sure to tell me if I'm going to run into something. But you and I were so involved in conversation and enjoying the moment.
He ran into something.
Yes. Go ahead. Got to start. Okay. I'm ready. Now y'all make sure I don't run into anything.
And were you walking the dog too? This is amazing. You're walking really.
Walk.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Whoa, see, y'all not even watching for me. Okay.
So he ended up running into, thank goodness he wasn't hurt, but
Yes.
it was such a very special moment,
Yes,
for
it
me. And
was.
I'm so thankful for you guys. Still a little bit to go, right?
Yes.
But a lot of surgeons will say to me that a patient is better off getting the amputation than having to spend a year as you did with the ups and downs and uncertainty of wound care and the amount of time it takes for tending to these types of wounds versus an incision or an amputation. What do you consider, how do you address that, Dr. John? A wound from an amputation, is it just an incision? What do you call it?
Well, I mean, first of all, let me address the first point. I don't know that a physician or anyone can really walk a mile in the shoes or whatever analogy of someone who has a major amputation. That, if you look at the statistics, half of folks don't walk again, and over a certain age, it's basically tantamount to a death sentence. So that's a lot of hubris, or it. I would never make that statement to a patient. I have told some patients that a lot of them they can be in a significant amount of pain, like chronic pain from the affected limb. And so that oftentimes is when we have the come to Jesus talk. Like, yeah, we can keep doing this, but what's the durability? What's the outcome? And then you also have to couple that with the amount of muscle wasting that people can get when they're in bed. Even a healthy person loses upwards of 5%, I think, every day or so they're laying down. I mean, so it's hard. So you have to kind of weigh those things. But I wouldn't ever say to somebody, why would you the wound care, this, that, or the other? Because again, that's their choice, honestly. And your point earlier, real quick, if your life is on the line, yeah, you've got to do something. But if there's options, try options if you're willing to do it.
And that's why we're going to launch padtrials.org, that we hope will create a shared decision-making experience for those doctors that might not have a few extra tools available, such as, I'll give an example, like the DVA, the deep vein arterialization, which is the bypass from the calf to the foot. If someone has a desert foot, so many doctors, you can't treat it. And typically, yeah, you might need to cut it off. But if there's a doctor nearby that has the device or is involved in a trial for a device such as that, then you can sit with your patient and go, well, amputation is my only option, but let me work with the Global PAD Association and padtrials.org, and we'll get you in contact with this other doctor. And it works even better because then the two doctors can work together in a shared experience for that patient. That's really what we're thinking. Most of the doctors out there in these rural communities, they literally just don't have the option, that they don't know where to look, and they don't have time. And so if we have one resource that's available where they could sit with you and say, hey, are you willing to drive here? Are you willing to drive there? You'll still be under my care locally, right? You still need to have a local doctor available to you. But let me work with someone that's 200 miles away, get that limb safe,
Right.
and then come back here.
Right. And the time thing is of interest because you have to be honest. So like the time it takes me to do a complex leg, I could probably do 2 to 3 coronary interventions. The reimbursement is about the same. One coronary intervention for one peripheral. And so when you start doing those numbers, it doesn't align. And that puts stress on physicians because they can't spend, like, I'm fortunate enough where my health system, Ohio Health, thank you, gives me the opportunity to do these. And because it's a need. But there are other folks, if they're working based on what we call RVUs, so what you do is what you get paid for. It's really hard to take up a lab for 4 hours, 3 hours, when you could have cranked out 4 heart catheterizations. And those are facts. I mean, it is what it is. So that does probably play a role in some of these cases for revascularization or no revascularization.
Yeah. So, with the two of you, I want to go. I don't know how much Dr. John remembers from what happened in the hospital, and I'm sure that it would be good to kind of, end the conversation here, because I think it's such a great lesson for others, to learn from, of the conversations that happen in the hospital around a situation like this, and they need to know their rights, that even I find sometimes the doctors just don't know, and you have an opportunity to educate them. But our conversation, Jay, was okay. We confirmed that the blood work was okay. She did not have a life-threatening infection. That is always my number one. Are they at risk of going septic? Are they septic? Yes, maybe if you went home is what they kind of determined, that there was a huge risk of going septic. But if you were able to do a hospital to hospital transfer, if there was a limb salvage program, then that would be the direction. And I'd love to kind of share those conversations and how we ultimately got to the point of getting to Lafayette, because I think it's important for people to understand how you went about. You do have a legal right? We talked about, you have a legal right to request a hospital to hospital transfer, as long as your insurance is covering it, and to a place the insurance does cover it. And it's also contingent upon if you're stable, and if there is a doctor available and a bed available, a receiving doctor and a bed available. So walk us from there, Jay, on how you went about this.
Okay. Well, first we want to say that we don't blame or fault the doctor that she had previously, because he actually ultimately saved her leg all those times before. So he could have, before we got there, at the 8th pop of her artery popping, could have said she needed an amputation then. And I might not at that point, had he not repaired or whatever he did, her leg, I might have thought that was the final straw, because I got used to seeing these artery pops, and I just I'm not a doctor, I didn't know. But so I do want to say we appreciate him for all the effort that he did in saving her and getting us to the point of where we were. But in the hospital itself, they did tell me that I was kind of just being delusional. Mom needed an amputation. She had gone through so much before, and it was kind of just hopeless to do that. But learning that I had rights to a second opinion, learning that her blood work. I mean, no, I would ask the question: is she at a life threatening? Is her life on the line? And no, her life was not on the line. Are these wounds? I know these wounds are infected. Can this infection, cause her to die if I move her? And the question was always no, not right now. But sepsis can happen in the blink of an eye, and you don't want to wait. The pressure was coming on me, saying that I don't want to wait for it to get to that point, because we have days now that she's not. But if it gets to the point where she is septic, she might not even be able to get her leg cut off. She might not be able to do that. And now we're talking about life. Her life, is on the line at this point. But I do want to say though, push the need for second opinions. Get the second opinion. If you got to get the transfer, ask for the transfer. You do have your right for a transfer if your insurance covers it. And there's the hospital team's there. There's a care team there that's supposedly focused on your recovery. So because someone else came and asked, what's my next step? Where do you want to take your mom, or what are you going to do next? that team, to me, that's their role to advocate your desire. Now, maybe, your insurance has to cover that desire too. So money comes involved in it. But if you have the insurance plan that'll allow you to do it, why not get the second opinion? Why not advocate for another set of eyes on your situation? Because it wouldn't hurt. I mean, like another set, like we were prepared. If Dr. Amin said the same thing, these doctors, were saying at that hospital, we were prepared to do what we need to do, but thank God he didn't. But so I guess my moral of the story, what I would like everyone to know, that just do your research, be prepared, have your ducks in a row. Have a power of attorney on deck. Like I had the power of attorney. The hospital was shocked that I was able to. I knew getting a second opinion. I knew they needed her medical records. I knew they were gonna want the video of her last angiogram, the video of everything that the hospital had. And going down to the medical room at the hospital, I asked for this information, and they was like, "Oh, you're going to have a power of attorney." And I doubt that you have the right power of attorney that specifically speaks to medical records and being able to do that. Well, I did my research ahead of time, so I had the power. They were completely shocked. So I was able to go down with the right information that I need, and it was able to be efficient, get the information needed to go to the doctor once we got a second opinion. So just have, like, do your research, have your ducks in a row, and fight for your mom or yourself, your rights for that second opinion, so that you can, get to the best doctors or best service you need to save your life. Because it saved my mom. So, she has freedom now. She's able to walk. She's able to maneuver. She's getting ready to start back driving. So like her independence.
We're in trouble.
Right. Her independence is
gonna drive out here.
coming back, but she did, she followed the rules. I mean, to me, if I had to look in the dictionary on somebody following what you need to do, she did it. Like when she couldn't move, Kim told us about toe yoga. So she did toe yoga in the bed, and then now she's doing as many like exercises all day long. She does things that, that she was told through physical therapy, through research, that can support collateral, vessels, and bring collateral flow down to her feet. So she does it like literally all day. She walks, she counts her steps, she rewards herself when she makes X amount of steps, with looking at her watch. She just, like she's my hero. That's all I can say. I want to be just like her when I grow up, because she fights and she continues to fight hard in everything she does, and I'm proud of her.
I'm proud of you too. And my thing is, please try and get you an advocate, because of her, I know that I'm in a better place, because she really spoke for me when I couldn't speak for myself. So it's good to have an advocate, and an advocate that really cares about you. So I'm thankful that the good Lord led her to come back home to be with me, to take care of her mom. So now we're getting ready to go on trips. We're going to have fun now.
That's awesome.
But I think that it's really important. I will only spend just another 5 more minutes here. I know that you guys want to get on to some birthday celebrations and things like that. But I do think you brought up a good point with the power of attorney, because we've had situations where there wasn't a separate person with power of attorney, and the hospital was asking the patient, while under some pretty significant pain medications, to sign documents, and the patient ended up with an amputation that she would have never agreed to. Now she says, and Dr. John and I had her on probably about 1.5 years ago, she agreed to the amputation because she wasn't in her right mind, and she sounded like she was, but she really wasn't. And she just came out of all these medications without a leg, and she was like, whoa, wait a minute, what just happened here? I wouldn't have meant to. Secondarily, you do need to make sure you do have someone, that is not scared of speaking up, that isn't going to say, we like the doctor and trust the doctor. And that could be great, because I think we have magnificent doctors. I think everybody has the right intention, and they just might not know what they don't know. It is their only option. What they're told in a hospital is, you have your options available. This is your tool chest. These are the people that are here. This is your role. This is their role. And you work as a team within the hospital, and you treat the patient within the hospital. Unless there's, situations there, certain certain places that are known cancer centers or known trauma centers or whatever, and they do just automatic transfers. But for your situation, what was really important is that you were able to then also reach out to us and really advocate. And you're like, I like you and I trust you did a great job with her. But what if there's something that you might not know? And it turns out there was. They were working below in the thigh and below, and they never checked the inflow. They never checked the abdomen arteries to see, well, wait a minute, there's something that's above. And so when we transferred over to the other hospital, he just had a different set of eyes and a different set of experiences that led him to do some different testing and offer a different solution. So it's not a matter of whether someone's a good doctor or not. It's a matter of just knowing what options are available. And that's really what we're trying to do, is democratize access for everybody, to say, hey, we know of all the different options in all these different places. Let me put them before you so that you can make the best decision for you.
Right.
But
another part, when we were in the hospital, we said that, we want a second opinion, that's all. We're not, being dismissive to your medical degree or your recommendations and all of that. We're just asking for a second opinion. That's it. And so we were told that, well, honestly, you kind of had a second and third and fourth opinion, because there were other doctors on the team that looked at it and they agree. And so, but my interpretation of a second opinion was, I said, well, to me, that's not a second opinion. I understand, and I don't disrespect to them, but a second opinion is a different set of eyes, a different, someone not on the same team, another set of eyes, completely different from this team, is where we were looking for. So they were when I was saying second opinion, their interpretation that a second opinion has already happened.
And we see that a lot. There are circles of care that there are some organizations that promote, and I really do like those circles of care, and they happen a lot in cancer situations, where they do have a circle of care and everyone brings in their ideas. But what I have found with circles of care for PAD within one hospital is everyone just kind of seems to have their role and agree to go where the loudest voice is or the most powerful person is. And it doesn't mean they might have a great, well-intentioned circle of care, and it covers everything that's happening in that hospital, and you're going to get the best care that they have, which could be wonderful.
Right.
But what if, like in your situation, there was someone that was different with a different set of tools, different set of eyes that could do it? And so I always suggest to people that even if the circle there, it's nothing against any hospital. We deal with every hospital. Like every single doctor has their value, and everyone has something different that they see. And so sometimes it does take, but not like going in Ohio. What's great about Dr. John's team is, he's well trained, his nurse practitioners. And they have a great synergy between, there isn't like this power grab, and everyone seems to truly work together for the sake of the patient, right? Dr. John, there's this whole process. You're even looking at creating an official limb salvage center with the circle of vascular surgeon, interventional cardiologist, interventional radiologist, and wound care. Because you have our one of our patients, starts with a B, that really has floated through your entire team, and it's still going strong because everyone passes him back and forth to make sure that he's getting the best care in the moment.
Yeah. No, again, it speaks to the, it takes a village.
Yes, it
And
does.
I think at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. Do what's right for the patient. And you just have to be, as a doc, you have to kind of open your mind a little bit. And like I said before, if you can't help the person, get them to somebody who can.
That's right.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to ask for it. And even if, like in your situation, you were financially threatened, you still And that's almost where you threw in the towel. That was scary.
Yeah.
That was scary.
Yeah, I mean, but the financial, it just kept, like doors were being shut. Like every door was being shut, and it took, like I said, the advocacy of you clicked me back into reality. He was like, get your cute little butt back up there and and open your mouth and call a meeting, get it together. And that's why, like I said, that's why I say the importance of having this advocacy. But just Dr. Phillips just said that it does take a village. It takes a village. And then it takes a diverse team, because blood flow wasn't the only thing my mom needed. After blood flow was restored, we needed a really good wound care team. It needs her general practitioner, her physician. He's on board. So like her whole team. Now that I think we have a great village surrounding us, a great team, all with the same, like all on the same page and the same end goal. And I'm just thankful for the team we have. But it does take a village, and the village goal and the moral of that village is to do right for the patient, whatever that is.
It was amazing. I mean, they were going to stick her that, hey, if you take your mama out of here right now, we're sending you the bill for the last 2 weeks of care. And that's when, I tell people, make sure you take down names, you make sure, because when they talk about transfers, this happened 3 times where no one made the call for the transfer. They said they did, they said they would, they told the patient that there was nothing available, but there was no documentation that anyone ever called the transfer center. And they didn't in this case, because I had Dr. Amin on speed dial, and he was on speed dial with the transfer center over at the hospital, and nothing was happening. And she's like, it's all over. And I'm like, well, I know why. So you turn around, get your cute little backup upstairs, and you're going to call a meeting. And I was on the speakerphone, and I put right in front of them the doctor that was accepting. And in that moment, she was transferred, within the hour?
Yeah, within a couple hours, but that same day. Yes.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. I got to run to church. Well done.
I really
Happy
appreciate
birthday.
it. Exactly. Having that faith, which is amazing.
Take care. See you guys.
Thank you.
But thanks everyone for joining us. And I think for the Great Circulation Challenge for September, PAD Awareness Month, I think you guys should go in and create Team LA Mama Joyce. And let's get your church, let's get your family, let's get your friends all on the LA, Louisiana Mama Joyce team. And let's definitely take as many steps as we can so that we can all together reach the 60,000 miles of the human superhighway as part of this challenge. So make sure, for anyone who wants to sign up, the circulationchallenge.org. Hopefully we'll get a Mama Joyce team started maybe in the next 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then everyone who goes on, if you love Mama Joyce's story and you want to help spread the word about PAD and the options available for saving life and limb, go ahead, go to the greatcirculationchallenge.org and make sure to sign up. You could even start your own team, but of course we want to promote, and take steps for Mama Joyce. So thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you both again. I just love you with all my heart.
Love you.
For those of you on YouTube, make sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel for more great stories like this, and always reach out to the Leg Saver hotline at 1-833-PAD-LEGS and talk to a navigator just like me, just like our friend Douglas, and we'll be here for you every step of your journey.